Hi everyone, I'm Autistic Ange. This is a podcast for adults who recently found out they are autistic and are looking for other autistic people like them. A few things I want to get out of the way first. One, I have a very bad case of dry mouth, so if you listen to this stuff on headphones, maybe don't, because I don't want to be doing in your ear. Very sorry. Maybe just put me on speaker on your phone and put the phone across the room or something. I'm recording this shortly after I woke up because I don't think I'm going to have time today, and I really want to get this one out. Second one is, if you hear a noise in the background, it's my neighbor on her rider. She's out mowing, and it doesn't matter where I go in my house, you'll hear the sound. So I don't know how to edit sound and stuff, so sorry. And third thing is, I am not technologically savvy. I don't think you have to be to put links and stuff in the show notes for these resources, but I don't know how to do it. I'm doing all this shit on my phone. I don't know how to add the links. Do I have to type them all out? I don't know. So I'm lazy. So I figure, if you're listening to me, you've got internet. So, go look the stuff up, read the reviews, see if these things are for you or not. And you have pause too. You can just pause and write down these things too. So sorry I created more work for you. But anyways, I'm going to start with books. So very first book I ever read about autism is by Luke Bearden, Beardon. Sorry, I sound like I'm in a spelling bee, but I'm trying to be as clear as I can. So that book is called Autism in Adults. And holy shit, did that book, it made me cry because I saw myself in those pages. He's the only person that I'll read stuff on and, that's not autistic, because he knows what he's talking about. He's super compassionate. And he's worked with autistic people for years and years and years. So it was like he was writing about me in that book. And that is when the light bulb went on. I had up to that point, suspected I could be autistic. And so I went on Amazon and I was like, let me see, if I can find any books that have good reviews. Because I'm not going to read something that didn't get good reviews. I'm not going to waste my time like that. What the fuck did people do before the internet? They just had to try things, and, if it worked out, great. If it didn't, they wasted their time. I don't know. But this book was life-changing for me just because it was the first resource I found that really spoke to me. His next book that actually recently, I found this one. I think he just released it earlier this year. It's called Avoiding Anxiety in Autistic Adults, A Guide for Autistic Well-Being. And when I first heard the title of the book, I thought it was are you telling autistic people that they should avoid anxiety, or how to avoid feeling anxious? So I was a little iffy on that, but that's not at all what it's about. It reads to me like a guide to people who are in relationships with autistic people, or have a parent or a child who's autistic. More here's stuff that you should know so that you have more of an understanding of your autistic loved one. Really, really good book. Next book is by Devon Price. Devon Price, Devon Price. And that book is called Unmasking Autism, Discovering the New Faces of Neurodiversity. That's a good book. Lots of information, challenges all the stigmas out there about autism. Then we have Jennifer Cook O'Toole. Her book is called Autism in Heels, The Untold Story of a Female Life on the Spectrum. Now, I liked her book. I got the audiobook. And I liked it. And I didn't know until a few months after I read this book, actually recently. I didn't know that she's the lady on the Netflix Love on the Spectrum, the Australian version, the original version. She's the one that goes in there and works with the autistic people about how to have better social cues understanding, how to interact with people. Like, she's the one that goes in there and helps them. I did not know that. Or, like, is she the one that did it for the American version? Maybe that was it, because she's not Australian. I don't know. Am I getting this right? She's on one of the versions. I don't even know if this is necessary if you care to hear this, but she's on one of those. She's either on the US or the Australian version. And anyways, Michael McCreary, McCreary. His book is called Funny, You Don't Look Autistic, A Comedian's Guide to Life on the Spectrum. I'm so sorry that, like, I'm having a difficult time talking. Like, it's hard to start functioning, like, for the first couple hours of being awake. But anyways, Michael's book is very funny. I love comedy, and I love that, like, he's willing to, poke a little bit of fun at his autism, and super relatable, all the stuff that he talks about. All right, so that's all I found for books. If anybody out there has found books that I didn't mention, please tell me, because, like, I'm still on the research rabbit hole of learning everything I can about autism. So, like, I would appreciate anything that, like, I haven't heard of before that I can check out. All right, so for podcasts, the very first one I was able to find is by this lady called The Autistic Woman, and her podcast is called Meet My Brain, A Field Guide to Autism. And I love it. I refer to her as grandma because she's already shared her age range, and she's got a very grandmotherly voice. It's very soothing. I don't know. Like, I just really like listening to her talk. And this being the first podcast that I was able to find, I still related to the majority of what she shared. Like, it really is like a field guide. Like, it was probably the perfect podcast for me to find right off the bat, because it's like, okay, here's what the sensory stuff is, and here's what the black and white thinking is, and, she shares her experiences and what she's learned along the way too. So check that one out. The second podcast I found was by somebody called Melissa Tassia. I think I probably butchered her last name, but it's Tacia, and her podcast is called Oh, That's Just My Autism, Stories of a Midlife Autism Discovery. And this is the person, I guess I should say, that, like, made me feel like I am for sure not alone. So I was listening to her, I binged that podcast like crazy. Like, I think I finished all the episodes in like 4 days. She's around my age. She discovered that she's autistic around the same time I did. And she says things that, like, I have never heard other people say, ever. And I know, like, if you've heard of the whole, like, terminal uniqueness thing, like, oh, it's just me this is happening to, like, nobody else understands. Like, I get how that sounds, but, like, I felt like, like, okay, I know I'm autistic. I know there's other autistic people out there, but when I found out I'm autistic, I'm like, okay, like, I really think I'm fucking weird in how I think, the things I say, that, and so when you've never come across anybody like you your entire life, you really do start thinking like it's just you. So this was the person that made me see that, like, no, it's not just me. And I feel so grateful that she decided to do a podcast, because this was the one that really, really helped me solidify my acceptance of being autistic and embracing it, I guess, if that makes sense. She also has like an online community via Discord. So, like, it's just a bunch of us autistic people hanging out, chatting. It's just, I'm glad to have a community and a place I can go to talk to other people who are like me, So check that one out. Next podcast is by Nera Birch, Nera. And her last name is Birch. Her podcast is called I'm Not Drunk, I'm Autistic. It's fucking hilarious. Like, she's a decade younger than me. So some of the stuff I can't really relate to, but the majority of it I can. And, like, I think that's the perfect title for a podcast, because, yeah, I mean, like, I walk like I'm drunk. Like, I sometimes talk like I'm drunk. I probably sound like I'm drunk right now. But no, it's because I'm autistic. That's why I act like that. So I don't know. I love the title. I love her sense of humor. So definitely go check her out. And then the last podcast I found was by a guy named Paul Brownless, like the color brown and then LESS. And his is called Adult with Autism. Now, it's not really a podcast. He's got a YouTube channel and does videos and then put them into audio form. So they're on Spotify and stuff. And that's how I found him, was via Spotify. So I just listened to the audio version. And, you know, like the majority, actually all of the podcasts I listen to are by women. You know, I just relate to women better. So I don't listen, like, even with comedians, like, I don't like any male comedians. I just don't think they're very funny. No offense to guys. It's just, like, I don't relate to it at all. Like, I like the comedians like Sarah Silverman, Margaret Cho, Chelsea Handler, Kathy Griffin, you know, like, I like that kind of stuff. So, but with Paul, like, I love his show because, one, he's British, which is, for me, is a plus because I was stationed in England for several years. I love the accent. His voice is very soothing to me, so I know it's like a sensory thing too. But I really like listening to him talk. And I like his take on things. He's very sarcastic. He's got a good sense of humor. And I like that he doesn't filter stuff. Like, he just kind of says it how it is. Like, I mean, really just, he talks about, like, shitty situations he's going through, and then, like, all the thoughts he has about them, all the things he would like to do, the obstacles he runs into, like, especially work-related obstacles, trying to work with, like, people who don't get what autism is, you know. Check that out, whether you like YouTube or you just want to listen to the audio. I very much recommend him. I'm almost done binging his episodes, so after that, I don't have another podcast for autism. So if anybody out there has some that they found, please tell me the ones that I haven't mentioned, because I still would like to, like, learn as much as I can. I want to hear from other people, because I've gone like almost 40 years with not knowing that there were people like me out there until I found these people who, thank goodness, took the time to write the books and do the podcasts. And, you know, as much as, like, I struggle with communication and talking, and this is all very, still scary for me to do, even though I'm getting used to it. Like, I'm only doing this pretty much because, like, there needs to be another resource out there for somebody. And, like, ideally, like, I would like to see so many podcasts on autism that, no offense, but that are not done by therapists who are not autistic and who are still, like, perpetuating the same bullshit about autism. You know, like, I've ran across those and I'm like, really? So I just don't connect with people who are talking about autism that are not autistic themselves, probably mainly for that reason. Like, you know, I'm just trying to find people like me. So yeah, that's what I found. I wish I had put this episode up sooner because of the way I always end my podcasts with, like, you know, hoping that somebody can hear themselves for the first time on mine like I did on somebody else's. But I think it's important to, like, share these resources, tell everybody about them that you know is autistic and is looking for understanding and stuff. And if you could please email me, my email is in the show description, I think, with resources that would be helpful too. So I think I said that like 10 times already. I don't know. I should just get off this phone podcast recording thing now and go drink more coffee and learn how to function like a normal person. So that's what I got. Thank you very much for listening. Go check these resources out, and goodbye.